What does it do, you two? Welcome back to another episode of Scotty Says. I am your host, and welcome 2024. Happy New Year, and welcome to episode 91. Episode 91, and we've got a lot to get to, my folks. It is going to be a jam-packed episode, but I thought it would be appropriate in honor of the new year to begin this episode with a disclaimer. The following broadcast is intended for mature audiences. Viewer discretion is advised. Any resemblance to persons living or deceased may be intentional, but is for comedic purposes only. And as always, it's never, ever personal. All right. Now, legal's happy? All right. Now, let's get down to business, shall we? And as I say, there's so much to cover, but the big news, of course, the Los Angeles Rams punched their ticket to the playoffs. Playoffs! The Rams are postseason bound, and you've got to give credit where it's due now. I mean, to turn around from that 5-12 debacle they put out on the field last year, to turn around now and be sitting at 9-7 with a game to play, to have their playoff ticket punched. I mean, they are on the verge of a 10-win season, perhaps. Of course, they would have to beat the bullies from the Bay, so, But the fact remains, job well done. Give Les Snead, the Sneedster, credit for scoring on those late-round picks. People like Kyren Williams, people like Puka, are major components of the success of the team this year, right? Doing spectacular things, not just good things, not just wonderful things, but spectacular things, the both of them. And then you have to give credit, of course, to the coaching staff. Both sides of the ball now. The defense often overlooked, but not here. And I believe this episode, I want to give game balls that focus on the defense this week. We'll get to that a little later on. But Raheem Morris and the coaching staff on the defensive side of the ball and the players over there. And then, of course, where I tend to focus, the offensive side of the ball. And, I want to give a special shout out to wide receiver coach Eric Yarber. The man's energy is just, it's magnificent. It's off the charts. The energy pops, it leaps off the screen when you see him on TV. And so everyone that I hear that speaks of him raves about the job that he does, and I believe it emanates from him. And look at the job he's doing with that wide receiver room. I believe now, based on my limited expertise, I believe the Rams right now, have the best wide receiver starting trio in the NFL. And it'd be hard to argue that now, because I'm talking about the Puka soup. Huh? The Puka soup. That's TDR, Puka, Nacua, and Super Cup. Okay? And if they're running on all cylinders and Soup's feeling pretty well, that's a formidable trio. Okay? And then you have a quarterback who can make all the throws. But now the thing was, I don't want to put a fly in the soup. But, when he's right, I'll say, Matty from the D can pick defenses apart. In fact, last episode, I put Matty top 2 right behind the Magic Man, who now has wrapped up MVP for sure, as I suspected he would. I had Matty from the D right behind, and now Matty has fallen from his lofty perch, and the Magic Man has just ascended. He was already at the top, and he's just floating higher now. But I'm going across the board, and I've obviously got to give credit to the main man down there at the Palace, Sean McGenius himself. Okay, to be that young and that accomplished. Now this is his 7th season, and he's 37. How about that? Okay, and only one losing season. Unfortunately, regrettably, his one losing season was a stanker of a season, and it just so happened to be the one that I bought into. What luck, Because my retinas were burning down there at the Palace last season. But last season aside now, his output, his record has been impeccable. And I said last episode, I believe Sean McGenius to be the finest coach the Rams have ever had in their franchise history, wherever they may have been. And I saw where the numbers back that up as well. In fact, based on his victory last Sunday, ugly though it may have been, a dub is a dub. He has now tied Chuck Knox for second all time in wins, regular season wins in Rams franchise history. Chuck Knox, that's a big name in the, in the history of the league. And Mr. McWonder in 7 seasons at such a young age has already tied Chuck Knox. I believe they called him Ground Chuck. Old Chuck Knox like to run the ball. But so they, obviously they're quite very different coaches. But the only coach that who also was a heavy ground guy, the only coach in front of Mr. McWonder now is John Robinson, right? And I believe Mr. McWonder could pass him next season. And of course, that was the news that came across the ticker this morning. And saw it on the ticker. Mr. McWonder will return to coach next season. And it's like, what is this year-to-year business? You're just 37. Why does this need to be a year-to-year wonder? McWonder, maybe I should say. But anyway, I feel like Mr. McWonder has a lifetime appointment as long as he wants it. What's the mystery? Why do we need to reaffirm this every season? At any rate, I say all that to say the coach deserves a lot of the credit for the turnaround. He does draw up beautiful schemes, the motions and the formations and the creativity on offense. When he's dialed in, it's top shelf. Second to none when he's dialed in. But then we don't want to go into the buts at this point in time. Let's continue on the joyous and celebratory note. And so let's talk about playoff projections. Okay? Because it is shaping up now. It's shaping up so delectably. It's going to be tasty now. It's shaping up to be the LA Rams traveling to the D. Motown, Detroit. And it would be McGenius versus the kneecap biter. It would be the haunted one back to his primeval stomping grounds where the possession first began. Back versus the exiled one, the golfer banished from the kingdom. I can't wait. And maybe the football gods just insist that that's the way it's got to be, maybe. Because Detroit had a chance by beating them damn Cowboys to move up into that 2 slot. And the Zebra said, no, you don't. And threw the flag on the game winner. Whatever had transpired up till that point, they threw the flag on the game winner and said, I thought you said something else, so you're going to have to try that again. And they were like, and I will say this about the kneecap biter. Now, he's daring and whatnot, but once they threw the flag on the game winner and moved you back, just tie it up, Mr. Biter. Tie it up. He said, oh, damn that. You move me back 7-8 yards, that's okay. We're going to go for 2 anyway. And then it was another flag that moved it up again, and he tried it again. It's like, I had a feeling the kneecap biter wasn't going to enjoy the knees he was biting on that day. If that game-winning flag wasn't a bad omen, I don't know what was. And sure enough, they go down to defeat, and it almost now has locked them in the 3 seed. And the Rams sit right there in the 6 seed. It's set. Now, there's a couple of few ways where it could change over this last game of the regular season. And so we'll see how it all plays out. But hopefully we get the matchup we've been looking for. And I want to say also, I said last week that Mr. McWonder was not the coach of the year. And, honestly now, I'll stand by that. That's a bridge too far. The ferret and the lemmings with the narratives. No, that's too much. But I will concede this. Mr. McWonder, if you look at the NFC, Mr. McWonder, I would say, is in the top 3 coaching candidates, coach of the year, NFC. But the problem is, of course, that, in the AFC, oh my goodness, there's just, there are way too many. And I mentioned last week, Shane Steichen, and I stand by that, and he's got a game. The Colts and Shane Steichen, they have a game that's going to determine who goes to the postseason and who goes home. They got a winner go home against Houston, and I like Houston. And which brings me to my other point now. Besides Shane Steichen, I think D'Amico Ryans with Houston deserves consideration, strong consideration, for coach of the year. This is a rookie head coach with a rookie quarterback who was injured and missed some games. And look at him. All he's got to do is win one and he's in. Okay. And these, these teams, they have the same record as the Rams now. But you saw how the Rams looked when they lost their starting quarterback. It was ripping and bumbling, and it was an ugly mess in Green Bay, remember? And that's why Green Bay's still nipping at your heels, because you lost that game. And that's the thing now. See, if you go up to San Francisco and your father Shanahan, Dada's you, then if Green Bay wins, they get your 6 seed. And then you drop to the 7. You're in either way, but you could drop. And who would it be? It would be the team that beat you with ripping and bumbling who takes your seed, just as I mentioned last week. And so it's time for the second season, the money time, and the lights shine the brightest, and I'm extremely excited to see how it plays out. And so the question marks, what will Father Shanahan do? Will he's got the number 1 seed locked up, sold up, and they asked him, Father, what will you do? Will you son Little McWonder yet again, or are you going to give him a break and rest everybody? And Father said, we have to consider everything, And he sounded like what he wanted to do was play the majority of his folks and maybe sit, he probably doesn't play Debo. I have no way of knowing this. I'm just saying I suspect. Will he play Purdy? Maybe he'll play him a half. Will he play Debo? I sort of doubt it. Trent Williams, I'm pretty sure he will not. And so it just depends. That's a fluky kind of game because both teams have postseason berths already sewn up. But the Rams do have something to play for, and there are some personal things that, would give them some incentive to start. And that's the question is, will Mr. McWonder and Kyren, will he start his frontline 11? I mean, I imagine he's going to start his O-line. They've been consistent all season, with the exception of No-Go Boom. We don't know yet about the status as of this recording of Alaric Jackson. We just know that he did have some personal or family issues that caused him to be put on inactive, and that he is anticipated to be back this week. As of Tuesday, I understand, or Wednesday. So we'll see what happens there. But No-Go Boom has been filling in nicely. McGenius praised No-Go Boom for playing through something. He hurt his foot, had a plantar issue, and played through it. No-Go Boom did, knowing that they were short Jackson to begin with. And so he showed that resolve and that willingness to fight through it. And so McGenius praised that. For No-Go Boom. And so, the thing is we just don't know how these coaches are going to play it. Will Mr. McWonder start Matty from the D? He sounded like, from what I heard, he really hadn't made a decision. Personally, I wouldn't start K-Will, but K-Will can further cement some things, personal things, but he's had some injury issues. K-Will is what makes it all go, really. I've been saying this for episodes now. You must have an adherence to power run game principles, fundamental ground game principles with this team. If they can load up and come after Matty, you're in trouble, okay? They've got to honor, fear even somewhat, your ground game. They've got to believe that you can do what we saw you do 9 straight runs against the Ravens and have a moonwalking. But you squandered that. But again, I want to keep this celebratory so far right now. I imagine maybe he'll give Soup a break. Soup, he had a Soup G Sanford moment, and the G was for Gimpy. At another point in the game, this past game, Soup still kind of battling through some things. And so this would probably be a good game for Tutu to get back in the mix and get more action and give Soup a spell, and you'll probably see more muffins, and you'll probably see I tell you what we didn't see. this week is we didn't see much of Cousin Allen. He was mysteriously absent. Was he there? Cousin Allen was quiet. Good, McWonder. That's what you need to do. You've got to shore up where the weak link is. You got to patch the hole. So, Cousin Allen single-handedly almost let New Orleans back in that game. Wonder would not be even in the top 5 Coach of the Year candidates if you line them all up across both conferences. I think, and I've already mentioned Shane Steichen. I've mentioned what DeMeco Ryans has been able to do. Both of those guys lost their starting quarterback. Both Shane Steichen and DeMeco Ryans, they had quarterback issues for a time, and they managed to keep them afloat. And speaking of that, you got to put Stefanski in that upper echelon. He's in the top 3 for Coach of the Year. You've got to. As many quarterbacks as they went through, and to end up with living spaces, Joe Flacco off the sofa, and look at him winning. Playoff berths sewn up. People are calling them the most feared team in the wild card round in the AFC. Flacco throwing like it's nothing to it, like he's never missed a beat. So, you've got to give Stefanski a strong look at Coach of the Year. And so when you look at all of those options, when you look at Stefanski, when you look at Shane Steichen, when you look at DeMeco Ryans, and I want to add another name I think should be added to the list. I think Mike Tomlin should be on the list for Coach of the Year. Now here's a guy, and we saw this up close when the Rams played the Steelers. Here's a guy, 17 years. Mr. McWonder is 7. Okay. Mike Tomlin, 17 years as coach of the Steelers and never once a losing season. Imagine that. Never once. So, if you're a Pittsburgh Steelers fan, you can feel comfortable any given year. If you want to purchase a season ticket, you're going to see a winning product. That was not my experience last season. Okay, let me just say that. 17 years, never a losing season, and it won't be this year because once again, they're at 9-7 with a chance to make the postseason based on how this last week plays out. And Mike Tomlin is doing it again. Quarterback carousel issues. They fired their offensive coordinator. The wide receiver room is problematic. All sorts of look like dysfunction there, and look at them. Steady winning. So all those guys would be on my list ahead of Mr. McWonder. But if you do look at the NFC, now, I will say I think Mr. McWonder, I think he belongs in the top 3. And I would have to say probably 3rd of the top 3 at this point in time, in my humble opinion. I would, in the NFC, the Coach of the Year candidates would have to be Father Shanahan and the kneecap biter himself in Detroit. And then 3rd would be Mr. McWonder. So that's how. But I just don't see those 3 as being on that same tier in terms of deserved the honor with those AFC coaches that I mentioned previously. But again, that is no slight now. I think Mr. McWonder, as I mentioned, is the finest coach in Rams history. And yet, Despite all the celebration, my folks, despite the giddiness of the moment and the hopes for what is to come in 2024 and the postseason, we have to be a little concerned. There has to be a little bit of trepidation, a little anxiety when we look at the big picture with the LA Rams. And so I do not want to be the fly in the suit, but I promised you now, I told you, you could come here and I would give you the real. I have to share with you what the evidence shows me. And you saw, most of you saw the game, and if you didn't, well, I'll try to give you a sense of it as we go through game analysis. Now, the only offensive inactive of note, as I mentioned, was Alaric Jackson. And that was a personal issue, and we do wish him the best. And again, Note Go Boom stepped in and performed admirably and carried on through sustaining an additional injury. I'm not sure the severity of it. And so, LA gets the ball first. And of course, there is Muffins. Fair catching. You see, my folks, have you seen that Muffins only fair catches? In fact, I'm almost wondering, is it a decree? Did McGenius tell him, listen, Muffins, just fair catch it, damn it. Only. I mean, the new rules on a kickoff allow you to fair catch, and you get the ball at the 25-yard line. They're trying to cut down on collisions. That's great. But Muffins, he fair catches every punt, even inside the 10. I've seen him fair catch inside the 5. Why? What? Who would coach you to do such a thing? And so I'm starting to think about calling Muffins Fair Muffins. Or, maybe better yet, because he's so beloved by his coach, maybe I'll call him McMuffins. Shout out to my son for that one. But McMuffins, fair McMuffins, fair catches, and the Rams start out on their 25-yard line. So we have our exact same starting 11 that we have grown familiar with and accustomed to from left to right. Now again, remember, No Go Boom is at left tackle now, but the rookie Steve Avila, then he's at left guard. At center, Coleman Shelton. Then at right guard, Dotson has taken over and has solidified that position. And the right tackle, the staple, Havenstein, and then Higbee at tight end. You've got your wide receiver Stu, that wide receiver brew, the Puka soup, and that is the DeMarcus Robinson and Puka and soup, and that is your 11 personnel with Kyren Williams, K-Will in the backfield, and Matty from the D, starting the game off in the pistol, and soup goes in motion right to left, but Matty on the snap throws against the motion and he hits Higbee. Higbee rumbles for 14, and it looks like McGee likes to start off the game and get Higbee involved, and so it's a first down, and now Higbee goes in motion from left to right, and Matty throws a dart for TDR, the DeMarcus Robinson. And that's for 7, 2nd and 3. Matty, he's still in the pistol now. And Puka is in motion now. And it is Puka who gets the pass. And so Matty he's spreading it around, and McGenius, he's got Puka going in motion, and Soup going in motion, and Higbee going in motion. And he's hitting the DeMarcus Robinson. And so the drive is looking pretty sharp. Well, with, the notable exception of it's been all in the air, but it's early. Matty hits Soup. And it's almost as though McGenius can feel what I'm thinking. I was thinking loud, and he does. He hands the ball off to K. Will, and I was like, good. K. Will gets a tote, right? Oh, Matty is under center now, and K. Will has gotten a tote, and now K. Will gets another tote. And I'm like, all right, this is looking good. And see, I'm thinking that this is the dilemma that the Rams and that offense can put a defense in when they're right, when McGenius is on his game and when Matty is on his game. These are big conditions, though, because as sharp as Matty has been over the past several weeks, well, this game, not so much. But early on, Matty's throwing darts and dimes, and Matty he's fluctuating from under center to the pistol, and eventually to the gun and back and forth. And so, McGenius can put on a nice array of looks. And, he's got bunch right and all the motion and the shifting, and it can create quite a problem for a defense. The drive continues, and Matty hits Soup, and they're cooking. And, the Rams, they've been the best opening drive team in the NFL. Now, the caveat to that is, though, they lead the league in opening drive scores, but 50% of them are field goals. So they get in the red zone. They even get into first and goal situations, and they have to settle for field goals. It's been well documented over the various episodes I've done and over these past few weeks. And so, we want to see Mr. McWonder and the offense cash in touchdowns after all this beauty on these opening drives. It feels like a McSquander if you don't cash them in. Remember, even that opening drive against the Saints last week, even there, it took that pass interference call on that uncatchable pass that Matty threw out of bounds. That's what saved the Rams on that drive, or they would have had to settle for the field goal. And even then they had to go to a 4th and 2 to try to convert. And so, or 4th and goal from the 2, I believe it was, to try to convert to because Mr. McWonder had heard the drumbeat about settling for field goals. It's 2nd and 11 after a run stuff. And Matty's in the gun, and he's unhurried. There's no pressure. The pocket holds up fine, and he makes an awful throw. A bad read, a bad throw. The ball looked like it may have come out funny. I don't know what was going on with Matty in New York. And I thought, oh no, this is looking like it's about to be a visit from the malevolent one. But TDR, the DeMarcus Robinson, one-handed extends, grabs it, pulls it in, and I was like, in the moment, I exclaim, oh, what a catch. And, of course, on replay, because the coach of the Giants correctly challenged it, and on the replay, there was a little bit of the ball that touched the turf. The pass fell incomplete, but it was noteworthy for the athleticism by the Demarcus Robinson, by the sticky hand pulling it in and almost pulling it down. And it was also noteworthy because that really should have been the first poltergeist strike of the day. But it was saved. And the Demarcus Robinson has broken up many a poltergeist strike in his short time running with Matty. After a completion of soup for 8 yards, it brings up a 4th and 3. 4th and 3 from the New York 21-yard line. And I'm thinking, what will McGenius do here? Now, it's of note, and I have mentioned this in past episodes, that the Rams have the dead last special team unit in all the NFL. They're awful, and again, we've chronicled this. Fair McMuffins is just, he has a dreaded disorder. He's got no yak at all. All right? And why the coach, McWonder, would insert him, of all people, to return punts when he's got no yak at all. It's baffling, head scratching, play calling and personnel. I've been saying this for weeks. So you've got nothing on the punt return game, nothing on the kick return game, and then on the other side of it, you're getting burned for punt return touchdowns. Walk-off punt return touchdown in Baltimore in OT. Your special teams are a wreck, Mr. McWonder. Your place kicker, the Havristic experience is just dreadful, as we would soon see. In fact, this game I came to see featured the two place kickers who McGenius had in camp to compete against each other because they were having so much trouble with their kicking. Wow, wouldn't it be peculiar if the game came down to a field goal between one or the other of these two characters? And wouldn't you know, it did. The Rams kicking unit has missed more field goals than any kicking unit in the NFL since 2015. They missed 11 of them. 11, my folks. And so what will he do? What will McGenius do? Well, it's 4th and 3 from the New York 21, and McWonder's going for it, and I support the call. That's right. It's the right thing to do when you consider all the variables. Yes, go for it, but I question the play call, because what does McWonder do? He lines Matty up in empty shotgun. I'm like, oh no. It's empty shotgun. There's no threat of the run whatsoever. It's 4th and 3. And I have that anxiety feeling. But they run the play. And Matty actually sort of threads the needle to Puka. But it's hot and it's low. And Puka, he can't hold on to it. And it's incomplete. I mean, and normally Puka probably pulls that one down. But the Rams turn the ball over on downs and come away with nothing. I don't call McSquander here. No. It was the right move to make. Probably not the best play call. But it was the right decision. It just didn't pan out. Okay. Just say, hey, I hope that the game doesn't end up being decided by 3 points and the Rams are on the short end. Okay, for not attempting that field goal. But New York goes 3 and out. The Rams get the ball back. New York is punting. Fair McMuffins is back, and no surprise, he's fair catching, So the Rams take over on offense. And McWonder, once again, he comes out throwing. this time he's got Matty under center, but he's still throwing. It's to K. Will, and it's for 5. And then he's throwing to TDR complete. That's for 8. And that's a first down. And, I'm thinking at this point, I feel like McWonder is backsliding. He's doing that Motown slide. You know what I mean? And I fear that his condition, you know what it is. He's got pass happiness. I fear that he might be succumbing to symptoms from his condition. And as I'm starting to worry about his balance issues, right on cue, McWonder gives K. Will a carry, and K. Will 5. Very nice. He's hopping over people, over linemen, and then Higbee gets a pass, and he rumbles for a first down, and then K. Will gets another carry, and then it's right up the gut with K. Will, and that's for 11, and he's running hard, first down, and I keep saying, you've got such a valuable asset with K. Will in that running game. Why are you so reluctant to unleash it on him, McGenius? And so now, under center again, K. Will, good, carries for 8 more. And then off that running action, see, it set them up. That's what I've been talking about. Off of that, play action, Higbee, tight end screen, 18 big yards in the red zone. In fact, first and goal from the 4. Then Matty, under center, McGenius does the right thing. He hands the ball off to his young, dynamic tailback, K. Will, and K. Will carries it right on in. Touchdown, LA. Touchdown, Rams. 7-0 Rams. And I'm like, good. This the way we should be playing ball now. And we need to do this not just against these poor teams. Keep this same formula, I'm thinking, as we move towards the postseason. That's what I'm talking about. That's where your strength really lies, in your ability to set them up with that power run game and then cash in. Let Matty and those 3 wideouts and Higbee eat. And so 7-0 Rams, but when I heard that Tyrod was starting, I thought, I was hoping it would have been the Mafia DeVito guy, right? But no, I know Tyrod, he poses problems that DeVito doesn't pose. So Tyrod Taylor comes back with a beautiful drive for the Giants, and they tie the game up 7-7. And, Fair McMuffins is back there to do his thing, and he fair catches. And I thought at that point, whenever the Rams had a punt return of more than 6 yards in recent memory, I can't recall. And so this game, I feel like it's too close for comfort right now. I have a funny feeling about it, but, McGenius is throwing, and Matty hits the DeMarcus Robinson to kickstart off the drive. And now, midway through the second quarter, Matty just airmails a drunken duck Affleck. A wild turkey just flutters one, a haunted gift. It was a poltergeist strike. A poltergeist strike. And, well, there it is. After 170 consecutive attempts without an interception, the streak is over. And now New York takes over. And I'm like, see, this, it's too much in the air. Matty's having a bad day, and my first thought was, he's not really sharp, McGenius. He's not sharpened on his game. Help him by taking some of the pressure off and running the ball more on the road. So now, New York with the ball quickly come up on a 4th and 1, and they go for it, but there's a bad snap, and it's fumbling and bumbling, and they don't make it, and so the Rams take over on downs, and LA with the ball, and well, after a run and a Higbee catch gets the Rams a first down at the New York 33. There's 3 minutes and 44 seconds left in the half, and Matty throwing again, off again, high for Higbee, but he pulls it down. Another one-arm catch, and the Rams receivers are making circus catches, and it's complete on that grab to Higbee. And that's now first down at the 21. Matty, though, just didn't seem to have it today. And now the Giants and Wink, they're dialing up the pressure, and so McGenius, to counter the pressure, goes to the screen game. K-Will, then Puka, and that screen to Puka was his 100th catch of the year, the amazing rookie. And so on a first and goal from the 5, Matty under center, 3 wide, Matty rolling right, touchdown, Soup, touchdown LA. Soup, he gets up a little gimpy, but 14-7 Rams, and there's a minute 44 left in the second quarter. And now, here is a rare defensive spotlight that I want to share with you. It's 1st and 20, right? And New York hands off to Saquon Barkley. And I think I'm going to call Saquon Pearls. Did you see that string of pearls he had on? I've seen players wear a lot of things in the league under their uniforms, that you can see, but I don't know if I've seen a string of pearls before. So Pearls Barkley takes the handoff, and Pearls Barkley running hard. He's a load now. Is met in the hole by Jordan Fuller, and you could see Jordan Fuller was slow to get up. It took a toll on him, and the Giants noticed that as well, because on the very next play, they decided to pick on Jordan Fuller. And Jordan Fuller's still a little out of sorts, maybe lunges and grabs, and he's flagged for the PI, the penalty. And then the Giants say, hey, we got something here. So they decide to go back to pick on Jordan Fuller yet again. And they tried that trick one time too many. They went to the well, and the well was dry. Jordan Fuller picked the ball off. Poltergeist strike. Interception. Rams with the ball. Only thing was, on the very next possession, complete to the DeMarcus Robinson, who coughs it up, ball out, and immediately New York back on offense on the Rams turnover, following the New York turnover. But after another Kobe Turner sack, the conductor making music on him, then at that point, Mason Crosby comes on for the field goal attempt. And what did you see? Did you see Stoney jump over the line and use those stone balls to block the Mason Crosby field goal block kick? Stoney, wait a second. There's a flag on the play. Oh, apparently you can't do that, Stoney. You can't just jump over folks from yards off the line of scrimmage and Stoney made a good effort, but it was a penalty. And so after the penalty, Mason Crosby does in fact convert the field goal. And so at halftime, it is 14-10 LA. New York opens the third quarter on offense, but AD 99, the Beast, and the conductor, Kobe Turner, gets some sack time in on Tyrod, and he's grazing on Jersey turf. So New York is punting. And as you know, Fair McMuffins is back to fair catch the punt. And he does. He fair catches at the 11. Oh, infuriating. What are you doing, McWonder? On a 3rd and 4 from the Rams' own 18, Matty in the gun hits Puka along the right sideline, and he sheds a defender, and he spins, and he's off to the races down the sideline. And I think if he wouldn't have looked back once and looked back twice, they caught him. But it was a 80-yard Puka catch and run. And I'll be honest with you, Offensive Rookie of the Year, it'll probably be C.J. Stroud because, quarterbacks get all the love. But oh my goodness, Puka has just been extraordinary. Just superb. And so now it is 1st and goal from the 3, and McGenius does do the right thing, and he hands the ball to K. Will, and just like that, like lightning, it's a touchdown. It is now 20-10 Rams, and the Havrisik experience comes on and promptly hooks it. He hooks it. He misses the PAT, and so the score remains 20-10. Now Tyrod goes back to work, and, well, the Giants reply with an 80-yard touchdown bomb of their own, and it was a beautiful throw and catch over the top. And then you won't believe it unless you saw it, but it happened. It's true. Mason Crosby, the same Mason Crosby who lost the competition against the Havrisik experience and was picked up by the Giants, comes on now for the Giants, and he, like the Havrisik experience, he misses his PAT too. What in the way? And see, with the Giants, you can almost expect it because they're a bad team. But the Rams shouldn't be making these kind of mistakes and having these kinds of problems this late in the season. And so I'm afraid, my folks, that these are the kinds of problems that will doom the Rams' postseason run. I don't know if you can fix these kinds of problems this late in the year, and you're not going to have teams like the Giants and the team formerly known as the Slurs and those caliber of teams in the postseason. They're going to be good teams. And they'll capitalize on your mistakes, on the interceptions and the McBlunders, and the missed field goals and the no Yakatol, no explosion in the kick return game. All of these things will kill you, I'm afraid. And so I know we're celebrating, but I got to tell you the real. I fear that what we're seeing is going to bite the Rams in the postseason, and it very well may be why they get eliminated. These very same things. And Mr. McWonder said in the postgame, he said, Mr. McWonder said, and I quote, "We'll clean it up. We'll get that fixed." It's like a broken record, but you're running out of time. So now there's 4.5 minutes left in the third quarter, and Fair McMuffins, well, he does what he does. And so out of the gun now, McGenius, well, he's throwing again. It's a screen pass. It's Rivers this time. But at this point, I feel fairly certain that he has succumbed to his condition. Past Happiest has got him. He is backslid. He's Motown slid all the way. I'm thinking you got the lead, man. You got the lead. You're on the road. Eat some clock, McGenius. Eat some clock. Get closer to balance. Oh, but not McWonder. No, my folks, before I can complete the thought, McWonder has Matty back in the pistol. And Matty throwing yet again high. And it's behind the Marcus Robinson. Oh, no. No. Yes, it is. Poltergeist strike. Another one. And I put the blame for this poltergeist strike. I put the blame for this one squarely on the head of Coach McWonder. All the signs have shown you your quarterback just wasn't on his game today. That's okay. He's been great for weeks now. Maybe he was due for a stanker. Whatever it is, help him. Help him. Run the ball. You got the lead. You're on the road. You're deep into the second half of the game. Run the ball. You have a dynamic running back. K. Will is leading all running backs in average yards per game rushing. That includes McCaffrey. Run the ball, money. Why won't you just do the right thing? And so, my folks, this has been your McBlunder Spotlight of the Week. And I mean, it turns out that the defender who received the haunted gift, Dave Belton, I believe his name is, he's been feasting on Matty. That's his second poltergeist strike, and he recovered a fumble. So he's having a day. I mean, it was just a wild, bad throw. A wild turkey, a drunken duck. Clean pocket, just like these other bad throws. No pressure. As the fourth quarter gets underway, well, New York, now, they're driving. First and goal from the 10, but they try a trick play that was bungled. It was mangled, and then there was a penalty on top of it, and so they're moving backwards, and so it's like first and goal from the 20, right? And so ultimately, Mason Crosby comes on, and the field goal is good. And so it's 2019. Now it's a 1-point game. And we are in the fourth quarter, right? And finally, McWonder starts the drive with a power run. K-Will for 5. And then under center, Matty, play action, rolling left, throwing long, down the sideline for TDR. Reminds me of last week complete. And so now it's first and 10. At the New York 28, just run, McWonder, damn. And he does, K-Will. Off the Puka motion, he takes the handoff, he hits the hole, full speed, K-Will, and then he cuts, and then he's into the next level, and then he accelerates, and he's untouched into the end zone. K-Will, touchdown, K-Will, touchdown. And it was a thing of beauty. And who sprung K-Will with that final block? It was Tutu. I see you, Tutu. And I'm thinking, McWonder, why don't you see what you have with your power run game? Why won't you take more advantage of what's right there for you? Touchdown run, K-Will spots Mama Bear. Taryn, I think her name is. He spots his mom's in the crowd, and he points, and he runs over to her with the ball, and he hands her, he jumps up to hand her the ball, and some fool, some clown, with a goofy expression on his face, tried to take the ball from her. You saw they've shown that play over and over, that replay. And I'm like, who is this fool? What manner of idiot is this? You see, the opponent has scored a touchdown, and he's given his mother the ball, and you would try to take it from her? Oh, you're repugnant. You're despicable. You know, sometimes people need to bump their head on something. I'll just put it like that, okay? But I'm like, some New York clown. What up, son? New York. What are you doing? Who raised you, fool? And then K. Will's mom did that. She put that crocodile spin on him, that twerk, snatched it from him, and then he had that stupid look on his face like, oh, did anybody see she took the ball from me? Yes, we all saw, fool. The whole world saw you on TV with your trifling self. Despicable. But in the hoopla and excitement of all that, no, say it ain't so. Yes, it's so. The Havoc experience comes on 26-19 and he hooks another one. Yes, he missed another PAT. And I'm like, look, listen, it doesn't matter who you get to replace this guy. He must be cut. Matter of fact, I don't know if you should let him on the plane. McGenius had him by New Year's morning. The Haverick experience is no more. Only thing is, who did they get to replace him? Who indeed? Who is the real Brett Maher is back? And the beat goes on. And so these things I fear will doom the Rams in the end. All these issues, all these problems, lapses, passing so frequently when you should be running, special teams, the kicking game. You can't fix all this stuff in a week or two. You can't patch up all those holes. McGenius, let's fast forward. There's under 5 minutes left in the fourth quarter, and, well, Mr. McWonder, he's back to the air yet again. 3rd and 7, and Matty, well, he swarmed, and this time the pressure does get to him, and he is sacked, and down goes Matty, down goes Matty, grazing on Jersey turf. And so, L.A. must punt yet again. And see the McBlunders, they're piling up. And I'm starting to fear that they're going to mess around and lose this game to the lowly Giants. And on the punt now, their punt returner, well, number 80 for the Giants clearly is not afflicted by no yak at all, like Fair McMuffins is. No, number 80 for the Giants. Well, the previous punt, he returned it about a dozen yards, and I chuckled then. Look, he got a dozen yards. When is the last time a Rams punt returner got 12 yards? But Mr. Olszewski was just warming up, because on the very next play, on this particular punt, why, he fields the punt at his own 6, but he wasn't fair catching like Fair McMuffins. No, he was running forward, no less. And he had yak. He had yards after catch, and he absorbed first contact at about the 21-yard line, but he took the contact and then he spun. He spun and he escaped from 2 Rams special teamers, and then he breaks to the sideline, and he's got blockers, a caravan of them running along the sideline, and at a certain point there was only one Rams player left that could bring him down. It was Stoney running alongside, and it looked like Stoney was saying to him, "Hey guys, would you let me slide in there? I want to try to tackle him. Do you mind?" And I'm like, "Stoney, you got to dive in there, Stoney." And I'll admit, Stoney did absorb a block in the back at the end, but Stoney wasn't going to make that tackle. Stoney was cooked and burned, okay? And touchdown, Giants. On the punt return, my folks, just like Baltimore, again, don't you see the stark distinction? fair McMuffins with no yak at all for the Rams, and the opponents busting off 80-yard punt returns for touchdowns. Think you're going to win in the postseason with deficient special teams and a rancid kicking game and make blundering play calls and a haunted quarterback? I don't feel confident that outcome would turn out in the Rams' favor, because there won't be teams like the Giants to keep making enough mistakes to lose. You're going to be playing a quality team in the postseason. So now look at the score. It's 26-25, and well, the extra point will tie the game. They caught you. But wait, there's more, as they say on TV, because the Rams are offsides on the point after try, moving the ball up to the 1 yard line, and Daboll says, hey, we might as well just go ahead and go for this win then. And so instead of the point after to tie the game, they bring the offense back on, and Tyrod and Pearls Barkley, and they say, let's go for the win. And I'm like, damn, they about to snatch the victory and maybe even the playoffs right out the Rams' chest. And it's a good play call. And Pearls wide open. Tyrod rolls, and he just Tyrexed it, short-armed it. Tyrod Taylor played a great game for the Giants all game long. But at that crucial moment, when it was all on the line, wide open for the winning 2-point conversion to go up a point, he Tyrexed it, short-armed it. He just missed the wide open Pearls, and the 2-point conversion's no good. And the score remains 26-25. Now, the Rams get the ball back. Matty's under center. K-Will, well, he's stuffed for one. That's okay, New York. They're starting to burn their timeouts. Run again, McGenius, run again. And he does. No gain, 2-minute warning. Okay. It's 3rd and 9 now. Matty is in the gun. Uh-oh. I think he's going to throw for the first down. And, well, Havenstein gets beat for the sack. Matty's grazing now. They have a chance yet again, down 1, to go ahead and snatch this victory from the Rams, playing flat on the road. And Tyrod, looking to make amends, throws a perfect strike to Pearls, and Pearls drops the pass. Pearls Barkley. It was like Tyrod botched the 2-point conversion, and Pearls Barkley botched the last drive. And, well, I'm thinking maybe the Giants don't really want to win after all, but they must not have gave that memo to Tyrod, because on the very next play, Tyrod, he escapes the pocket and he scrambles, and it's 38 big yards, and then they spike the ball, and it's 2nd and 10, and it's 42 seconds left to play, and the ball is at the LA 34-yard line. That's a 51-yard field goal from here. I don't know. You got Mason Crosby now. He's been suspect too. So they try to run a play, but, well, it gets stuffed. Now you lost 3 yards. Now it's a 54-yarder. And just as I feared, the game will indeed come down to the toes of the Havrisik experience. And Mason, we're going to let you go, Crosby. And, well, you know Crosby would like nothing better than to stick it to the team that let him go and nail the game-winning field goal against the Rams. And so, ball down, kick up, is drifting, is wide left. And so, no good. No good. LA will win. LA will survive. And, well, it was all on display. McGenius survives by the hairs on his chin, but we all saw it. Even the national media saw it. The ferret, he calmed down all that McWonder gloat. They calmed down all of that slathering they were doing because they saw what I saw, what you saw. McBlunders, mistakes. The team did not look prepared. And I don't think you can fix all these problems going into a playoff meeting against a quality team in time. And they'll give him credit for getting the team that far, even if they flame out in the postseason. Hey, LA survives. And at the end of the day, they get the dub. Dubs and L's. L's and dubs. Which one is it? They got the dub. Well, it's a troubling sign for the Rams. And yet, you got to celebrate. You're 9-7. You're going to the playoffs. You got the dub. Uneasy. It's the head that wears the crown. But you got to celebrate for now. You're going to the playoffs. So job well done. Game balls. Game balls. Well, I want to give some defensive game balls this week. Change it up a little. But I've got to give K-Will and Puka both game balls on the offensive side. These 2 fifth-round picks in consecutive years have been just nothing short of spectacular. And K-Will is leading the NFL, as I mentioned, in average yards per game, in average rushing yards per game. And Puka, this week, this final game against San Fran, why Puka, with a handful of catches and some more yards, could set the all-time rookie record for receiving in yards, which goes back, I believe goes back to 1960. Magnificent. So game balls to both those guys. And then on the defensive end, game ball, Kobe Turner, the conductor, the rookie, leading all rookies in sacks. In fact, with 9 sacks on the season, he has tied Aaron Donald for his rookie sack total. And he still has another game to play. But I want to give another set of game balls. 3 more game balls for the defense. I know this is a little bit out of character, but hey, Rams are going to the playoffs. So let's give them out. So let's give our defensive game balls to Ernest Jones. Ernest Jones set the all-time Rams single-season tackle record with 142. And again, there is an additional game still yet to play, but he passed James Laurinaitis, St. Louis Rams. And so, big ups to Ernest Jones, all-time Rams single-season tackle leader. Game ball. He has 7 tackles and 6 assists in New York. And then game ball Jordan Fuller, 7 tackles and 1 assist. And he had that poltergeist strike. And game ball defensive side, game ball AD 99 the Beast, 3 tackles, 2 assists, and 2 more sacks. And so, gotta give the defense love. All right, let's quickly go to the numbers now. Matty from the D, well, 24 of 34, 317 yards, a touchdown, 2 multi-guy strikes. All right. And so 34 pass attempts. That's not too far out of balance. We want the 25-30 principle. We don't want to go much past 30, 34. But the turnovers. And then on the rushing side, K. Will, 20 carries, 87 yards, 4.3 yards per, but he did have 3 touchdowns. But there were only 2 other carries besides Kyren Williams. Puka, 2 carries, those fly sweeps. 2 carries, 19 yards for Puka. So there were only 22 carries. So he was a little short, Mr. McWonder was on the carries. We need you to get to 25. He only got to 22. And I felt that he was out of balance. And then a little heavy on the pass attempts, just a little bit over. Honorable mention, the Demarcus Robinson, in spite of the fumble, 6 receptions, 92 yards, a 15.3 yard per catch average. And honorable mention, Tyler Higbee, blocking in the run game, running hard, making great catches, 6 catches, 62 yards. And then when you look at the final numbers, the team numbers, it was super close. 391 total yards, Rams, 389 total yards, Giants, 286 passing yards, Rams, 284 passing yards, Giants, rushing yards, both teams 105 on the nose. And so it was really close, 6.4 yards per play, Rams, 5.8 Giants. The Rams and the Giants both punted the ball 5 times each. Rams sacked them 6 times, but the Giants sacked Matty 4 times. Time of possession was within seconds of each other. There were 3 turnovers by the Rams, only 1 by the Giants. And I give credit again to Tyrod, who, is a backup quarterback to have a pretty good game in the air and then lead the team in rushing as well. He did the best he could, but he had one unfortunate play, which may have cost him the game. And he led the team in rushing with 40 yards. So you could see right there, they only had 20 carries total and 41 passes. So Daboll was wildly out of balance. And so I know once again this has been an epic episode. I'd like to see Houston in the playoffs. I'd like to see Indy in the playoffs. It doesn't look like both of them will get there. It does look like Green Bay is probably gonna make it. And so it's gonna be very entertaining as we move into the postseason money time playoffs coming up after this final week in the NFL. And I will be here to cover it. Will the Rams get the 6th seed or will it be the 7? And, I preseason picked Baltimore. It's hard to go against them. I think you gotta say they are the betting favorite out of the AFC. NFC, I think it's a lot more wide open. Let's see what Father Shanahan and the Niners and Coach McWonder and the Rams do in this final week of the season. And then I will be here to cover it on the other side. And so until then, my friends, what I'm asking from you, what I need you to do is throw me one of these. Like the video. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Leave me a comment. Let me know what you're thinking. And until the next one, my folks, Scotty says, one love.